Happy hump day. Let's get it. Okay. I am so just relieved this week to have encountered someone who is out there who's thinking and posting like me, and a renegade rebel badass chick who is out there saying the things and exposing the things and sharing the things unapologetically and even more boldly than I do. So, you know who you are. I'm giving you a shout out. Heather. It's my little Boston accent for you. We've had some amazing exchanges this week when you find a kindred and you're like, ba, and what about that? And ba, and you get to go all, conspiracy truth, deep dive with people who get it, who've lived it, who know people who get it and lived it, and we're finding each other. The puzzle pieces are assembling, and things are clicking. And when you live in your own head with this stuff, it can be very daunting and very tormenting and haunting and overwhelming. But when you get to share it with transparency and to be held and met with it, with these things that you've kind of suppressed or stuffed down or had to compartmentalize in your brain just to get up and function throughout the day. I know that for me, I've done a couple thousand readings in the last few years. And I would say a good portion of that, I mean, most of it, have had somebody come in with a backstory of having some kind of pedophilic experience. So that's anecdotal, and that's me in this one little town, in this one little place. It's rampant. It's everywhere. And so once we start exposing that, I don't know how that's not the lead story on every news network. Oh, yes, I do, because they're complicit and they're protectors of abusers and molesters. And it's not something that they want to lead with because they have the other narrative going, which is the cover story for the things they do behind the scenes and in the dark, right? So a lot of us are waking up and shaking up and finding, again, the kindreds who you may not agree on every point, and you may have different areas where you diverge or things that you trigger each other for. But I'm finding that finding common ground, you guys, is where it's at right now. Instead of, focusing on our differences, which I know I'm guilty of as well, looking at where, someone is not like me rather than where they might be, connecting as a human and heart to heart, as a woman. But I tell you, not all women out there are good, and they're ones in the elites and the upper echelons are very sneaky, snaky, and slimy. That's what I found. They will be the worst misogynists, really, ever, and the mean girl bully energy, and I'm just over it, done with it, and not playing anymore in that field. I want to go play with people who want to play with me, and who show up, and who listen, and who make you feel heard, honored, seen, respected. And there's going to be some pushback sometimes and some challenges and some hiccups, but people who at least will acknowledge your existence. That's a bare minimum. And then hear what you have to say, and then maybe want to share what you have to say. And so that's been very vindicating and validating for me this week. It's been quite a wonderful rabbit hole to deep dive into, as I said, with someone who we grew up around the same time, and so we have a lot of similar kind of pop culture references and things. And we're saying we were kind of yearning for I was saying I was yearning for more of the Wonder Years, Walton's Little House on the Prairie programs, rather than the twerking and the bloodletting and the fire programs. I'm definitely not into all the murder shit and all the rape shit and all the kidnapping shit that just Netflix, Hulu, all that. It's Disney, all of it. It's turn off your TVs, walk away from your screens. I'm doing it more and more, and I plan to do it probably permanently soon. I'm not going to close this channel down, but I won't be posting as much here as the weather gets nicer, and I want to go out and spend time with my friends and in nature, and it's fun for me to have a little creative outlet here, to kind of have a brain dump. It's almost like a living journal. That's all I've ever really used social media for. I've always used to say, I'm talking to myself and letting the world listen. So it just keeps me from being on a street corner with a megaphone, although maybe that's another approach, I do feel very clear right now, very calm, very grounded, very healthy. I'm about to embark upon an Ayurvedic protocol that a friend of mine is turning me on to. And so it's going to be pretty rigid and help with some of this belly bloat I've been experiencing, which really, this is cortisols, you guys. That's stress. And so when you have that sort of Michelin tire muffin top thingy and you're not going to plastic surgeons every 4 minutes to keep everything sucked and tucked and lifted and shifted, then things start to sag and drag, and it is what it is. And it's actually beautiful too when your body softens and you get to just sort of not be on a treadmill, literally or figuratively. Like, yes, be healthy, eat healthy, drink some raw juices, hydrate, rest, keep that natural glow, use some face oil too to enhance. Um, but really, the main thing is to keep your stress levels down, which for those of us who've been in fight, flight, freeze for ever, that is probably the biggest challenge and the most important one. And it's not one I've mastered, but it's one I'm getting better at every day. And I hope you are too. To just move from fight, flight, freeze to rest, nest, and digest, and less is more, and it's not being in the hustle grind, chasing the carrot and stick shit, but just being present, content, less is more, and just having fun with it. It's sort of giggling at the absurdity and then also crying when you need to, and purging and releasing, letting those emotions come up and out and through, and to find creative outlets to express them, and ways where you can feel heard and not crazy, seen and not crazy, loved and not crazy, or crazy and heard, seen, and loved despite or because of your crazy. Again, that word, right? So, to me, if you're gaslighting me and then calling me crazy for going, I see what you did there, I'm on to you, or then we can hide behind screens only so long, and then the truth will come out. It just will. It is already. It's amazing the pace that's happening, and you still have to sift and sort, and you still have to use discernment, and don't swallow everything. That's what being a free thinker is not going back into some new program of, the Patriot program or the MAGA program or the virtue signaling program, or just see it all as programs. And that's true liberation and sovereignty and empowerment, in my opinion. Allegedly. But kinda, yeah. All right, you guys. I hope you're going to have an amazing day. Remember, we're all human, or most of us. And those who want to go into some transhumanism, AI, robotic future, good luck to you. I'm not interested. I want to be here now. I want to be there then later, and just to keep evolving and shifting, lifting, uplifting and gifting and healing and feeling and saying things. And when you're triggered, yeah, it's good if we cannot lash out, but that's part of the process, and we can all have grace and space for that too. When survivors are overcomers of these, what I call the fuckery, we're allowed to feel what we feel, and we're allowed to say and think what we think. And so if you were ever taught or harmed or shamed into zipping it, or not letting yourself feel fully or express that, or you're told that your tears were crocodile tears, or that your anger was unattractive, or whatever it was that you were taught, I want to tell you that was a bunch of bullshit, and that your emotions are your internal guidance system. They're super important to kind of befriend and get to know. People will say invite your demons to tea. That's kind of what it is. It's kind of like, no, I'm not gonna let doubt derail me. I'm not gonna let your insecurity make me feel bad. That's your shit to deal with. I'm not gonna let your addictions, unhealed, undealt with, make me give you a blanket excuse for shitty behavior. Let's deal with it. Deal with it. Okay. So, have an amazing day, or evening, or afternoon, or wherever and whenever you are. I'm a little not quite awake yet. My tongue is catching up to the brain. But I will say this, calling out the fact that on the global stage, it is still heavily dominated. It is still very logical and linear, and rather than intuitive and emotional. So I'd love to see that shift, and so I'm putting that out there. And so it is that more women's voices get heard, more women's stories get heard and shared, more women who are out there on the front lines being change agents get honored, recognized, compensated, and acknowledged, and give credit where credit is due. When you share people's things, try to always give shout outs. If you know, I know the pace is now fast, that it's not like we're slowing down for that so much, but you know, we're cross pollinating now, and it is grassroots, which I always thought was too slow, but now I understand the value in that, to let a grassroots movement of truth and exposure of darkness come to light. Okay, peace, motherfuckers. Ka out.